Aloha, this is Reverend Tim Lytle from Unity Church of Hawaii here in Honolulu, Hawaii. Welcome to our YouTube channel. Thank you for joining us. We have wonderful services and videos and messages. We're so grateful to stand with you in faith so that you manifest the highest and best in your life, because we know where you are, God is. All of God is fully present there. So enjoy our services, enjoy the message, and thank you for joining us.
Yeah, love our band. Oh, wow. Well, the Christ is risen, and the Christ is risen in you and as you. You may feel like things have gone against you. You may feel entombed. You may feel put down. But I am here to tell you that there is something amazing in you that is waiting to rise up and waiting to be released. The topic today is, are you really alive? The great coming out party. Are you really alive? The great coming out party. You may wonder, well, how do I know if I'm really alive or not? Because, you know, if you're sleepwalking, if you're lost in the hypnotism, mesmerism of this current time, wanting to just fade into anonymity and mediocrity, then you may wonder, well, how do I know if I'm alive, you know? I mean, I wake up in the morning and I go to work and I say hi to people and, you know, I go to bed at night and then I start it all over again. And maybe that's good, you know, but here's a question for you. Is there a dream within you? Is there something within you that is longing to express as you? Is there something inside of you that's been waiting a long time to come out? Is there something inside of you, this presence and pressure and propulsion of spirit within you, that is pushing and propelling you to do something, but you've been holding back. You've been keeping it under wraps. You've been on the down low, incognito, don't want to stand out too much. If you are holding yourself back, then I suggest that you're not fully living. You're not completely alive. And I'll tell you what, it sucks to be walking around but not to be alive. I did that for years. And sometimes I do it once in a while just to see what it's like. And I think, why am I doing that? I don't have to do that anymore. You know, I was taught when I was growing up in church, Timmy, you are a sinner. And, you know, if it wasn't for Jesus, you would go to hell. I'm thinking, well, I'm glad Jesus came along. And furthermore, you were born in sin. Original sin. That everybody here is just born with original sin. And I thought, well, that doesn't sound like fun. This is the good news. Yeah, what's the bad news? Some of us grew up with some of those enculturated things, those beliefs that have almost gotten in on a cellular level. You know, thinking of ourselves in some inaccurate way. And so we've been living, not really living, existing in the tomb. I want to read a passage of Scripture from Mark chapter 16. This comes from the Living Bible. The next evening when the Sabbath ended, that is Saturday, when the Sabbath ended, the next evening, Mary Magdalene and Salome and Mary, the mother of James, went out and purchased embalming spices, that is, spices to anoint the body of Jesus after he had been crucified. Early the following morning, that's Sunday morning, just at sunrise, they carried these spices, out to the tomb. Now I love this, and as a kid, this was not lost on me. I'm thinking there's a big stone in front of the tomb. What is their plan? I mean, I caught that as a kid. And I'm asking, what were they thinking? I asked that. And it's like, Timmy, just be quiet and listen. Okay. On the way, they were discussing how they could ever roll aside the huge stone from the entrance. Duh. But when they arrived, they looked up and saw that the stone, a very heavy one, and in the Greek New Testament, that word for very heavy or huge is megas. Megas, like mega, huge, wow, really, really big, okay? A very heavy one was already moved away, and the entrance was open. So what do? I mean, you say, let's go home. No, that isn't what they do. So they entered the tomb, and there on the right sat a young man clothed in white. Now, right? This would be a little startling, right? Because, they're expecting Jesus to be dead. They're expecting the body to be there. And there's some other guy sitting there, clothed in white. The women were startled, but the angel said, "Don't be so surprised. Aren't you looking for Jesus, the Nazarene, who was crucified? He isn't here. He has come back to life. Look, that's where his body was lying." Now, that'd be a lot to take in. They'd have to do some processing. They're probably calling up their therapist, saying, "I need to up my medication." This would be more than startling. This would be mind-blowing, Because when you're in the tomb, you think it's all over, right? Now, some of us, at times, or maybe some of you still, are living in the tomb or just existing in the tomb. Maybe you're still in there. Now, what could that tomb be? That tomb could be not really fully allowing and realizing your Christ essence, your Christ presence, your divine self to come forth. This last Friday, we had a great time at our Good Friday service. Yeah. And I'm not sure if I've ever said before, I had a great time at the Good Friday service. Usually Good Friday, again, as a kid, I thought, what's good about it? We're commemorating this crucifixion and all that. But, so, we had a hand-washing station, to symbolize serving one another, that we're here to serve each other, that if something that we do here, if it doesn't in any way have to do with service, let's get it out of here. If in some way it doesn't have to do with service, get it out of here. And then we had a communion station. And communion is about not only sharing of that substance and spirit of the Christ as we're taking the bread and the juice, but it's about communion, oneness with one another, beholding the Christ in each other. And then we had the cross up here. And we attached to the cross those things which we wanted to release. Because the cross is about releasing. It's about letting go. It's about surrendering. And it's a very, very effective tool. You may wonder, how do I let go of some of these things that get in my way? Well, okay, so Friday night, I wrote down one word. I put an exclamation mark. I wrote down one word. And I came over here to the cross. I'd been helping with communion. Most people had already been to the cross. And so I came over to the cross, and right above the crossbar, right above, center, there was an empty spot. And I thought, there's my spot. And so I placed what it was that I was releasing. Now, would you believe? Would you believe? Would you? that this morning I thought about, I had forgotten that I had left it there on the cross, and I was about to take it back up again. And then my mind flashed to that image, and I could see the word, and I could see where I had placed it. And I said, I've let go of that. That doesn't belong to me. That interferes with me fully expressing the Christ as me, and that's what we do. We release what doesn't belong to our true nature. If we just allow our Christ nature to come forth, it'll do it. We allow it. But we release those things that do not belong to us. And how do you know if it doesn't belong to you? You know it doesn't belong to you if it is inhibiting that dream, that Christ presence within you, and you release it. Affirmations and denials can help with that. When I was taking classes at Unity Village in Kansas City, Missouri, and some of you may not know, Unity Village is its own municipality. It has its own mayor, its own sheriff, its own zip code. It's its own municipality. And as I was taking classes there, I didn't think I had any more of that embedded theology. Do you know what embedded theology is? It's kind of like an iron skillet that you haven't gotten everything out of, but you think it's clean. So I was in these classes at Unity Village, and I thought, I don't have any embedded theology anymore. I'm rocking and rolling with metaphysical thought. And then I had this teacher by the name of Paul Hasselbeck, who's a very good friend of mine now. And he would have us come in meditation at 6:30 in the morning. I'd be sitting front row because I'm all about it. I'm all over it. And he would say, take a deep breath. And then he would say, affirm, I am Christ. And it was like an alarm went off inside me. Like, I can't say that. What? How can I say that? And he had to say it again, and then again, and several more times. I'm like, there must be some embedded theology here. What's this about? Because, and Jesus is my master. I love Jesus. Jesus is my guide. And Jesus taught us that greater things shall you do that believe. Jesus taught us that we are all one. He didn't say, I'm the only one, nanny, nanny, boo-boo. He was trying to get us to all realize our divine nature as well. And so, for 90 days, I'd been asked to come up with some metaphysical treatment plan that would go for 21 days. I thought, that's not going to be enough for me. No, for 90 days, every morning and every night, several times, in the morning, several times at night, I would affirm, I am the Christ. I just kept affirming it to see what is bubbling up in me. And there were these thoughts of, I'm not enough. There's these thoughts of, oh, you're born in sin. There were these thoughts that you're not good enough. Who do you think you are? And I just kept doing it. Kept doing that treatment on myself. And it kept working. And it's like putting more and more stuff in the stew. It just kept cooking until something really beautiful was cooked. And I want you all to repeat it with me. Now, maybe you don't feel like you can say it, and that's okay. It's okay if you don't feel like you can say it. It really is. Because your spirit will recognize the truth of it anyway, and it'll work on you like a time-release capsule. And it will just keep working on you. So repeat after me. I am the Christ, the presence of God. I am risen. I'm not in the tomb. I am the Christ. Take a deep breath. How does that feel? Do you feel that? I feel this vibration throughout this entire place. I feel this vibration that's going out because our spirit recognizes the truth of that statement. That's us coming up out of the tomb. That's the stone being rolled away. That's us stepping out into the light. I remember the first time I went to Pensacola, Florida, and to the Panhandle area of Florida. And they have these, oh my goodness, it's like sugar, pure white sand beaches. And I stepped out there, and my Midwest eyes could hardly adjust to the brightness of the sun and to the white sand. I thought, oh my goodness. And you know, when you've been in a dark room for a long time and you step into the bright light, you know how light it looks? There are people, I know, who are so used to living in the dark, they don't want you to shine too brightly. They're vision quenchers. They're dream stealers. They try to suppress the Christ that you are. They're like the guards. That's what the guards at the tomb represent. Let's keep them from coming out. Let's keep them from really living. Let's not have a great coming out party. No, 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 no. Let's just keep them in the tomb there. Keep it all mediocre on the down low. And when your light shines, and when you really step into your vision, when you really take those first steps that are in front of you, that you step into that vision, have you sometimes noticed people saying, "What are you doing? What do you think you're up to?" I remember in college feeling a call to ministry, having a very, very good friend. And I told him that I felt called to be a senior minister of churches. And he said, "Oh, no, not you." And I remember traveling to Padre Island in a marine biology class, Padre Island, Texas, a huge church, and they asked for volunteers to speak at the Sunday service, and I raised my hand. And all my class was terrified because many of them had never heard me speak. I don't mean publicly, I mean at all. And they were afraid I'd just get up there and be in silence. They were really scared all week long. And they would come up to me and say, "Have you been studying? Do you have something to say?" And then that power and presence of God came forth, and they're like, "What? Why don't you talk more?" Rhea Fox, who's going to sing in a little bit, was told in the CME church that she grew up in, "Do not sing. Do not sing. You can't sing. Furthermore, you don't have any creativity to you at all." You'll see in a little bit. I was listening to a speaker at Agape Spiritual Center in Culver, California, African-American woman, who was told, "You can't write. Forget it. You just can't. And as far as public speaking goes, don't do it. Get a desk job." And now, 7 books later, and speaking in front of huge audiences, she tells people about overcoming those limitations that we place on ourselves, because that's where the limitations come from. And it's those things that we need to release. If you will, crucify, cross out, release through our affirmations and denying that they have any power over us, of knowing the truth of what we really are, that we are not our circumstances. We are not the limitations that people have placed on us. We are not those people that are squished down. We are the presence of the Christ, which refuses to stay in a tomb. A stone cannot cross us out. A stone cannot keep us back. A stone cannot keep us in the dark. We are here to be the Christ, to be that full presence. So when Jesus raised from the dead, he was representing that Christ as us, rising up and being all out. I don't believe in doing things halfway. I just don't. Why do stuff halfway? I mean, if you're going to show up, be all out. And that's what we're here to be in this world, is to be the Christ presence in this world, to rock this world. We're here to rock this world and help other people remove the stone from their tomb so that their Christ presence can really come forth. Repeat after me. The Christ is risen as me. You can't hold me back. I'm going all out, brother. I'm going all out, sister. I am the Christ. And so it is. Amen. Thank you.